Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day called for a national divorce. She wants to split up the United States of America into red states and blue states and have the blue states be their own country and the red states be their own country. And, she was dunked on across the board for this when she floated it on Twitter. Now, there's, of course, massive logistical problems with it, on top of the question of, like, do you realize you just called for the end of the United States of America? But the point a lot of people made, and they're correct to point this out, is you're from Georgia. Georgia went blue the past few election cycles. You would be in the blue states of America. You wouldn't be in the red states of America. Did you not think this through? What do you do with situations where, the rural areas are really red, but the cities in the rural areas are really blue? Do you want to break it up by cities? What exactly is your plan here? There is no plan. She's just shooting from the hip, and honestly, she just has, a seething hatred for the other side. She hates Democrats, she hates liberals, she hates leftists, and this tribalism defines her politics, and so she's just riffing and shooting from the hip and saying really, really dumb things. So then she went on Sean Hannity's show, and she doubled down. She doubled down on it and was like, yeah, no, I didn't stutter. And Sean Hannity was playing patty cake with her and footsies, and tee-hee, maybe that is a good idea. Well, shockingly, this has turned into a conservative Civil War argument. And there's been a lot of right-wing Civil War stuff going on recently, as you all know, whether it's Steven Crowder versus Ben Shapiro, it's Trump versus Ron DeSantis. I mean, Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert versus Kevin McCarthy. There's a lot of right-wing Civil War stuff going on. Well, now we have a new battle in this war. So here's Laura Ingraham responding to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's see what she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman for a few years now, has called for something akin to a national divorce.
Red states could choose and how they allow people to vote in their states. What I think would be something that some red states could propose is, well, okay, if Democrat voters choose to flee these blue states where they cannot tolerate the living conditions, they don't want their children taught these horrible things, and they really change their mind on the types of policies that they support, well, once they move to a red state, guess what? Maybe you don't get to vote for 5 years.
Just casually bantering about, what if we took away people's right to vote? What if we said the right to vote is no longer a right, it's a privilege, and I'll take it away from people who I have some political issues with? How dumb can this woman be? Well, so dumb, Laura Ingraham is like, bitch, what?
Well, first, a law prohibiting American citizens who've not committed a crime from voting would probably not withstand legal scrutiny.
Ha!
And second, how would this, like a national divorce, be good for conservatism? Now, why would we want to embrace the states that gave us Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton, but essentially give up on the states that gave us Reagan and Trump?
All right, I will say, that is a clever argument from Laura Ingraham right there. That is clever. She clearly thought this through and was like, well, I got an easy burn. I got an easy rebuttal for this one. But really, I mean, the deeper truth is this, guys. Their whole politics is defined by dunking on the libs, owning the libs. And so if you remove the libs to own, to dunk on, they're not having fun anymore. So they want that. They need that oppositional relationship in order to feel happy, feel like they're involved in the crusade, the fight for all that is righteous and just.
If Youngkin had given up on Virginia, or if Republicans on Long Island gave up on New York, the last thing we need is an American breakup of any sort. Remember, a motto of this show, almost from the start, over 5 years ago, has been no state left behind. Just because it often seems like Democrats have given up on America themselves doesn't mean ever that Republicans or conservatives should. They should not. I'm certainly not willing to give up on the states that gave us Sinatra, John Wayne, or that welcomed my grandparents from Poland. There are good, hardworking people in Illinois, in New York, and in California, Washington State, who don't want to move and who are looking for new leadership. So let's give it to them. Keep organizing. Keep registering people to vote. And get real about early voting. Keep making the case that liberalism is failing everywhere it's tried.
So funny enough, my argument is a mirror of this argument, which is this is what the left needs to do in red states. You know, a place like West Virginia, they have a rich labor history. You know, you can have Democrats find a way to communicate. If Democrats really believed in unions and fought for unions, fought for workers' rights, a state like that is gettable. A state like Ohio is gettable in that scenario. It wasn't that long ago, Ohio went to Obama twice, and then went to Trump twice since then. Well, to give up on them, you know, they, whatever, it's, you know, they're irredeemable deplorables, they're Republicans, what are we going to do? This very essentialist attitude towards people's politics. There's no reason to have an essentialist attitude if you truly believe in your message. If you truly believe in your message, your policy, your ideas, your ideals, use your persuasive skills. Try your best. You're not going to win over everybody, but you're going to win over some people. And with Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's a very essentialist attitude. These are the good people. These are the bad people. Just split it up. Break it up. It's really dumb. But look, I'm saving the best for last here, because it's not just Laura Ingraham versus Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now Steve Bannon gets involved. And Steve Bannon is maybe not as diplomatic as Laura Ingraham, let's say. And here's his response to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I've heard Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about splitting up the red states from the blue states.
Yes. We don't have time or luxury for sideshows.
There you go.
This country is not going to split up. You might as well go to Arlington National Cemetery and go over to the section of the veterans at Gettysburg and spit on their graves. As he even mentioned, this country would be split apart.
You may as well spit on the graves at Arlington Cemetery. In other words, all the brave American men and women who fought and died for this country, you're disrespecting their legacy by floating such a preposterous idea, by floating such an un-American idea. It is literally un-American because you want to end America. Look, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I love this right-wing civil war. Because for a long time it felt like, why is it only people on the left want to slit each other's throats? Why is it only people on the left who are like arguing over tiny, minuscule differences? They hate each other when there's 93% agreement. What is it something in the nature of the left that the right just doesn't have? Are they just more willing to keep their eye on the ball and fight for their bigger cause? Overlook minor differences? Turns out the answer is no. You just need the conditions to be ripe for them to turn on each other. And Crystal makes this point a lot. I think it's spot on. There's a reason why you're seeing Republicans lost the last 3 elections in a high-profile fashion. Trump won 2016, but then you have 2018, 2020, and 2022. They lost all of those elections or underperformed in all of those elections. It took 3 election cycles of the American people rejecting them. For now, they're turning their guns on each other. Hey, who's to blame for us being unpopular and losing time and time and time again? And so that's why you see these different factions and they're sniping at each other. And I'm here for it. I love every single part of this. Now, I will say on this particular issue, of course, Laura Ingraham and Steve Bannon are way more correct than Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, I can conceive of a potential scenario where any country, not just the United States of America, feels like they're at a breaking point and, you know, some big change has to happen. Maybe it's time to try out something totally new. I understand that way of thinking. Are we anywhere near that yet in the U.S.? Absolutely not. In fact, when you look at the polls, Americans actually agree on the overwhelming majority of issues. It's kind of amazing just how much Americans are in agreement. It's just that our politicians make it seem like that agreement is not there because they don't listen to the will of the people. So we're nowhere near that point in the United States of America, but Marjorie Taylor Greene would like us to be because that's her bread and butter. She is a fringe extremist, and she is embarrassing herself and besmirching the Republican name more and more every day, and it's hilarious. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.